the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Back on Follow the Money. Mitch back tomorrow. Paulie and JVT. Let's go out to the Progressive guest line and talk to Greg Wyshynski. Covers the NHL for ESPN.com. Their senior NHL writer. Excellent job with his playoff preview. The mega playoff preview that's up there. And check that out with all his picks. And he joins us now. Follow him on X as well. Great to talk to you, sir. Did anything happen in the first couple days that made you change your mind on a pick or a future?
Well, I mean, I stayed on Dallas because I picked them before the season. But if they don't get Miro Heiskanen, their top defenseman, back by at least Game 3 in this series, their goose might be cooked. I mean, Colorado looked really, really good. The Stars are down both Heiskanen and Jason Robertson at this point in the series. Mm-hmm. This Game 2 is going to really determine a lot about where we're going between Colorado and Dallas. And I do think that the Stars, do have enough depth where if Jake Ottinger can steal in the game, they could win. But my faith in them is shaken a little bit. On the flip side, I was really, really impressed with Winnipeg pulling out the Game 1 win against St. Louis on home ice. They did not get a very good game from Connor Hellebuck, their star goalie, but they were still able to find a way to get the victory there. And that's a team that with a Game 1 loss at home to a fairly hot St. Louis team at the end of the season, you could almost see the series going the way the previous 2 playoff series for Winnipeg went, where they lost in 5.
Yes. Echo your thoughts on what happened with Winnipeg as well. So how many do you think there's a lot of similarities to 2010 with Washington and Montreal getting underway tonight?
On paper, there are, right down to the fact that in 2010, when Montreal upset Washington, they had a hot, young, dynamic rookie join their team late in the season. In 2010, it was PK Subban, and now in 2025, it's Ivan Demidov, who's comes over from the KHL and has sort of ignited the fan base with how exciting he plays. They've got the formula for an upset. I mean, they've got dynamic young players. They've got the inexperience, I think, works in their favor in the sense of like they're too young and dumb to know about playoff pressure. They come in having to play playoff games down the stretch while Washington's been in cruise control for about a month and a half. That said, what they don't have is defense. And, that's sort of the determining factor in this series for me. I think Washington's going to be able to put some goals on the board. I think they've got more depth than Montreal. And Montreal was, I think, 28th or 29th in the league since the Four Nations tournament in expected goals against at 5-on-5. So their fundamental defense is not very good. And I think Washington is going to be able to make short work of them. I have them winning in 5 games.
Kings are $1.30 favorite tonight at home. It's a pick'em series against Edmonton. Should they be getting more respect? Should they be favored to win this series?
No. It's the whole basis of the King of people back in the Kings is this notion of like you can't beat a team 4 times. Ask the Buffalo Bills about a team beating you 4 times. I mean, and the difference between that and this is that Edmonton has 2 Patrick Mahomeses and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. McDavid in the 17 or 18 games that they've played against the Kings over the last 3 postseasons, McDavid is averaging 2 points per game. Leon Draisaitl has like 16 goals in 17 games against the Kings. Like, these guys just hand Los Angeles their lunch when they meet in the postseason. That's not to say that Edmonton is good. I think Edmonton is not very good. I think that, compared to what they were last season, they're probably going to leave the playoffs in the second round. But I do think they're getting to the second round because Draisaitl and McDavid are not going to even flinch seeing the Los Angeles Kings jerseys on the other side of the ice.
Wow, you're strong on that. Okay. All good points, but how about that it's different with the home ice and Kemper and what they do defensively?
The home ice is big for the Kings only because of how well they've played there this season. And I would agree that Darcy Kemper gives them a level of competence in goal that they might not have had in previous matchups against Edmonton. But again, I don't have faith in the Edmonton goaltending. I don't have faith in the Edmonton being healthy at this point in the season. Obviously, they're not going to have Matthias Ekholm for this series. But I dropped to my knees and clasp my hands together with the faith that I have in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl to drag this version of the Oilers to at least one playoff series victory.
I like it. You got to drop your knees in the middle of the CVS, though, I think is the rest of that line. All right, how about tomorrow? We're going to get Tkachuk on the ice to skate Tuesday morning. How much should this swing if he can go for Florida?
I mean, I fully expect he's going to go. I mean, I think there's been enough time for him to rehab. I think all the extra time built into the schedule to delay the beginning of this series. I mean, I'd be surprised if he doesn't, answer the bell for game one. The intrigue in this series, though, is we haven't really seen this incarnation of the Panthers play together. I mean, Tkachuk's been out since Four Nations. He's never been on a line with Brad Marchand yet. The expectation is they're going to play with Sam Bennett. This Panthers team hasn't really been together. I mean, they're still not. We're not going to see Aaron Ekblad in this series until Game 3 because of his suspension. Meanwhile, the Lightning look like the Lightning again. I mean, they got Ryan McDonough and Yanni Gourde back, so aesthetically they look like the team that won back-to-back cups. But both those guys can still go. They've got depth. They obviously in their top six have incredible scoring. They're going to have, this is their first playoff series with Jake Gensel, who is, put on a pedestal as one of the best postseason players we've had in the last 10 years in the league. And Andrei Vasilevsky looks like himself again. So, I mean, it's all really kind of pointing in the Lightning's favor. And I've been surprised by how many people agree with me that they could be a team to beat in these playoffs, especially considering they're playing the reigning Stanley Cup champions in the first round.
Yeah. So you love this series. And then you like Tampa to win. You also think Tampa goes to the Cup?
I think they have the potential to win the East, yeah, for sure.
Okay. How about the concerns in goaltending with Carolina and Colorado? Real or not real?
In Carolina's case, real. In Colorado's case, not real. I think Mackenzie Blackwood is really good, and the lack of playoff experience was a concern, but then you look at him this in that game one, and all of a sudden you realize that they nuking their goaltending was the right thing to do this year, and they found somebody they really like in Blackwood.
Okay, so if you have to change your Dallas pick, which you made before the season, who would you then pick to come out of the West if you change your Dallas pick?
I would probably pick Colorado. I think the winner of that series can play for the Cup.
And okay, Dennis Bernstein said the same thing. Interesting.
Greg, I'm curious. Last night we watched Vegas Golden Knights in a hard-fought game against Minnesota that was not as close as the final score indicates, considering a ridiculous goal at the end. But that regular season series was pretty slanted in the Knights' direction. But watching that last night, it looks like the Wild were giving them a pretty good fight. Did we see anything that would maybe make us think Minnesota is going to make this a tougher-fought series than most expected?
No, I thought their big players came to play last night. Kaprizov and Boldy. That's to be expected, but I texted somebody that knows the Wild pretty well the other day and asked him, is there a chance for an upset here? Because I was looking for an upset in these playoffs because it's a little bit chalky in the first round. Right. And the response was LOL. So I mean, I hesitate to say that Minnesota is going to make this a series. Maybe they can grab a game when the action moves back to Minnie, but the Knights are a cut above, and you just saw last night, when they get everybody back and healthy, and they've got a lot of guys that have tons of playoff experience and can really flex on you. Yeah.
It's strange how it started out, right? Favorites are 5-0. They've covered the puck line in every game, and it's hard to make a case for an underdog right now.
Yeah, I mean, things can easily swing back in a game two in a lot of these series. And, the interesting thing, like you said, is the amount of scoring that we've seen. I mean, a lot of that tracks back to how many power plays we've seen early on. I mean, you look at the Toronto-Ottawa game, that had a ton of power play scoring. It's kind of people assume there aren't penalties called in the playoffs. There are. It's just that they happen in the first few games of the first round, and then as you get deeper into the series and you get to Game 7, then obviously the power play opportunities dry up. But it's an interesting trend to watch, because if we do get a number of power plays early on in the first round, this season was I think, as far as power play efficiency goes, the best power play season we've had in the NHL since the late 1980s. So power plays are cranking. The scoring, has come on special teams for a lot of these teams that are in the playoffs. And so if we do see the penalties continuing to being called and power play opportunities early on, then we might continue to see this spike in scoring.
Great job, Greg. I loved your preview. Keep up the good work. We'll talk to you soon.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Greg Wyshynski, senior NHL writer, ESPN.com. Good job there, and strong on the Oilers. Very good.
Almost laughed at me. I was like, relax. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No, he was strong.
It could be different. Kings fans are hoping that's the case, but they're very popular. So he has the same pick. He's sticking with Dallas because he
got to be a man of character.
Yeah, but so Tampa, Colorado, would his pick in a rematch, which Dennis Bernstein had as well, 2022, I think it was. So that's a lot of. Dennis Bernstein says Tampa in 5.
Yeah,
they take out Florida, no problem. That's a hot take, considering it's a pick'em series. Very good. NFL Draft, one of the few betting events where research beats reputation. VSiN Pro helps you cash in. Get VSiN Pro access through August 1st, just $59. A full summer of sharp betting insights at half the regular price. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The real-time betting splits from DK and Circa. The 24/7 video access from draft to the Derby and beyond. Every sport, every edge, one low price. Sign up now. VSiN.com/subscribe. VSiN.com/subscribe. Kings $1.30 tonight. 5.5 the total at DraftKings. Coming up next, I don't want to overreact, but it was a wild weekend on and off the field and the ice and the courts. We'll get to that coming up with our best reactions on VSiN. Follow the money, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, a lot happened, a lot of blowouts, and favorites went 5-0 to start the playoffs in the NHL. It's time. I don't want to overreact, but hit it, baby. Give me a two-me Von Tobel.
All right. I don't want to overreact, but Nico Harrison is having the worst 2-month stretch any executive has ever had in the history of sports.
Yes.
What is this man doing? He has a press conference today, finally, that everybody can watch, not just behind closed doors, where he admits that, Paul, he didn't realize how important Luka Doncic was to the fan base. The quote, I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level. This guy's insane.
Yeah.
This is following those comments, the 2.5 quarters of championship level play.
Right. You saw what we looked like for 2.5 quarters this year. Right.
This is following the private press conference in which he said defense wins championships, I think, 10, 12 times.
Right. You went to the finals last year.
Yep.
Your defense was good. What? Okay.
Also said today that he's never said a bad thing about Luka Doncic before.
Okay. Well, go back to the first. The owner made him have a press conference, and then they wouldn't let the media have recorders or cameras.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing here?
You also couldn't post anything from it.
Okay.
Yep. You could only talk about it. You could only they could only send out the transcripts. Opening question was essentially, why should you still be employed?
Yeah. Then this dropped today, too. So Tim McMahon, ESPN.com, did an article about the relationship and with Nico and Luka as well. So it was Dirk wants to have nothing to do with the organization. It was Dirk's buddy, who I think was a strength and conditioning trainer, and then got promoted to like front office, that they thought so highly of him. So Nico calls him and says, I got to talk to you. Can you come in? He goes, no, my mom's dying of cancer. I'm at her bedside. He goes, can you Zoom? He fires him over Zoom. Because like he didn't want to share the spotlight or, one voice, and people thought he was respected and liked, unlike Nico. And he does that to the guy. Imagine, okay, where are you? My mom's dying. Okay, get on Zoom. And he whacks the guy.
My man's got to be done. He's got to be done here pretty soon.
I agree. That's strong. Keep it going.
All right. I don't want to overreact, but the Memphis Grizzlies are the worst playoff team I've ever seen in my life. That was pathetic over the weekend. Offensive rating was in the 70s. They turned it over on 20% of their possessions. And this is in non-garbage time, which, by the way, started at the beginning of the fourth quarter. They were getting slaughtered heading into the final 12 minutes of play. They're absolutely abysmal. They're not in it. John Moran sitting there on the sideline laughing. Mr. I'm fine in the West has not been fine in the West at all.
Good point.
Since he has uttered those words.
Yep. We were 2 seed.
Yep.
We played regular season. Okay.
And now they're about to get swept here against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they're the worst playoff team I've ever seen in my life.
Got it.
All right. You want another one?
Got it.
Okay.
Give me 2 more.
2 more. Milwaukee is toast, even if Damian Lillard comes back.
I agree.
They've got no athleticism on the perimeter. They have nobody to handle this backcourt for Indiana.
How about the Kuzma game?
The 20 trillion club.
It's happened, I think, 6 times in history.
Yep.
He played 20 minutes. He didn't score, have a rebound, an assist, a steal, or a block.
Yep.
Come on, he's out there for cardio.
And even if Lillard's going to come back, which again we got those reports that he's actually been off the blood thinners. They caught this earlier than we thought. Whatever it is.
What kind of shape can he be?
What kind of shape is he in? He's not a good defender, so that's something else that these teams go after.
Yep.
Rollins is at least a decent point of attack defender. If he's not out there, they're going to go after Lillard a ton. You've got Nembhard, you've got Halliburton, you've got Mathurin. You've got so many different backcourt pieces to go after a perimeter defense, which is non-existent. Giannis is going to eat, but Bucks are cooked. I don't want to overreact, but they're cooked.
I'm with you.
My last one. I don't want to overreact.
Rockets done? Is that where you're going?
But the Clippers are going to get swept if they play like they did on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
That was pathetic in terms of blowing this game. The late turnovers. The Kawhi turnover was absolutely unacceptable.
Yep.
Late when you're up by 1.
High school.
He was non-existent offensively. Again, first game in a while at altitude. Still can't have it. They went away from Ivica Zubac in the high pick and rolls. They completely stopped using it, even though it's a big reason why they built their double-digit lead in the first half. The bench, sorry. I mean, Derek Jones Jr., Bogdanovic, you might not be able to play either one of them. DJJ can't shoot. They're going to play off of him. And every time Bogdanovic is on the floor, they're going after him every single possession. If Nick Batum's going to be your lead bench guy, you've got some pretty big problems. And that doesn't even mention you were like the best defensive rebounding team in the league. And then you come up and you give up 9 offensive rebounds combined to Aaron Gordon and Russell Westbrook. You're going to get swept if you're going to continue to play like that.
15 in the second quarter. Terrible. I agree with a lot of those. Good job. I don't want to overreact, but I see your Bucks and I raise you. The Rockets are done. Oh, that was so bad offensively. Which playoff experience is a big deal. I know you have Van Vliet and Brooks, but the other thing now, since the Butler trade, Golden State has the 3rd best record. They're 9th in offense, they're 1st in defense, they're 1st in turnovers forced, and they're number 1 in points off turnovers. And they're just going to have these guys in a headlock the whole series. And then I thought could be more like, remember when Curry went 1 of 10 in the last? Well, then Curry goes off too with some of the ridiculous shots.
I can't believe some of those shots.
I know. He's still doing this at that age.
Yep.
And it's just, they're going to do this. This trade is going to work out, and Butler got his way, and you're going to probably face the Timberwolves, which could happen, and win that, and these guys could be in the conference finals. I can't believe it, but it was so bad. You get that type of performance out of Sengun, and you're still down 23 points.
Offensive rating in half court, so against the set defense for Houston, 65.5. 4th percentile. Absolutely vomit-inducing.
I don't want to overreact, but the Hawks have to trade Trae Young. That's enough already. Where you going, number 1? Like, you're always in the play-in. The one year when they went to the conference finals was a fluke because that was the year the Sixers blew a 19-point lead in the 3rd quarter at home, and Simmons was turning down dunks because he didn't want to get fouled, and then he wet himself in front of a national TV audience. It's just like, and then how about the lack of defense? That possession, I know the game's over at the end, but he doesn't foul, he doesn't guard anybody, and he's 4 of 17 to start the game. You're not going anywhere with this guy. And I'm not saying you can get like a huge return for him anyways, but it's over. It's enough already. The writing's on the wall. I don't want to overreact, but if the Cavs play defense like that again, forget about Boston. They won't get to Boston. They'll lose to Indiana in the second round. It's not hard. Hero can shoot and Bam's good.
Yep.
Guard the 2 guys from Miami. Now, I respect Spoelstra, but again, this was a team that lost 10 in a row not that long ago. That game shouldn't be close. And you need Jerome to have that type of game to pull away late, and he goes for 28? That was a bad job by the Cavs. They should not mess around against Miami. I don't want to overreact, but what Bettman and the NHL have done this year with the schedule is an all-timer.
This one's that.
So we have St. Louis, Winnipeg, game 2 tonight, and we have Colorado and Dallas, game 2 tonight. The Florida series hasn't even started. That starts tomorrow. Okay? Then we only have 2 games on Saturday, and now we go 4 Monday, before Tuesday. And how about tomorrow? The Knights play here, puck drop, 8:10 local time. That means 11:10 on the East Coast, and they're playing the Wild. That is a 10:10 start time in Minnesota on a Tuesday night.
And that's if the first broadcast game before it doesn't go to overtime, right? Because Florida-Tampa Bay is also on ESPN, so they could probably push it back like 10 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah. And the first game, it starts at 3 o'clock Pacific with New Jersey and Carolina. That's not the worst thing I've ever seen. But you can do a better job spacing it. Go 4, 5:30, 6, 7. I've never seen that before. That's a 10-10 local puck drop for a team that's in the game. Oh, that's bad.
I mean, I would assume it's a broadcast thing, right? Because all 4 games are on ESPN. One of them's on ESPN 2. So I guess you're beholden to ESPN. You got to put it on there. So that's why you have to push it back to 8.
Oh, my God.
Can't get it on ESPN 2 after the Ottawa-Toronto game tomorrow?
Yep. And I don't want to overreact, but there's no way Jurassic World is going to be good. This comes out in the summer. Rebirth? How many of these are we going to do?
Is this the third Jurassic World?
I think you're correct.
Right?
I think it's just the third. How many have we done? Is this the 8th movie? Is this the 8th Jurassic Park /World? It came out in 93, I believe, the first one. The first one came out in 93. We're still doing them.
Yeah, my dad had it on Laserdisc.
Come on. Now, Scarlett Johansson's in it, but it's like, how many different ways can you think of? I'll tell you, John, it's the damnedest thing. The dinosaurs are acting up. We went to go find them, and now they're going crazy on us, and we're trying to corral one. Like, that's good. It's always the same.
7. There's 7 total Jurassic Worlds.
We're counting the new one?
Worlds. Jurassic movies. So there's Jurassic Park, The Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World Dominion, I guess, is another movie that came out in 2022.
Yeah, garbage.
And then Jurassic World Rebirth.
That's the new one.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, you going to admit you're out of ideas here? This was all the rage in the 90s when you did it. But it's the same storyline almost every time. Take your betting to the next level with First Bet, whether it's Santa Anita, Gulfstream, or the Road to the Derby in Preakness. First Bet puts the action at your fingertips. Sign up now, firstbet.com, promo code VSIN200. Get a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days up to $200. Don't miss out. Bet smarter today. Firstbet.com. We'll go out to the Garden next with Brian Mahoney. It was rocking for Game 1. Can the Knicks go up 2-0? And how about Tibbs' job security?
This is Follow the Money on VSIN.
We're back on Follow the Money. Paulie Howard, Jonathan Von Tobel. Let's go out to the Garden. Game 2 tonight. Knicks 6.5, 220.5 the total against Detroit. Adjusted series price. The Knicks are minus 650 now. And Brian Mahoney at Brian C. Mahoney on X. He's on the Progressive Guest Line, covered the NBA for the Associated Press. You've been doing this for over 20 years, my friend. Thanks for the time, as always. But it was so loud during that 21-0 run. Is that a top 3 moment in terms of I can't even have a conversation with the person next to me?
Yeah, fully. As far as the way that was shaken, that was right up there with last year in the playoffs. Dante DiVincenzo hit a 3 against Philadelphia to win that game. And then maybe Carmelo Anthony's first game here back in whatever it was, 2011. As far as, when they talk about the Garden being like no place else, that was the kind of moment where you can understand why they say it.
Wow. I mean, that's just for everything to go wrong like that, and even how the quarter started, it was just bizarre where it's turnover, basket, Payne's hitting threes, Brunson and one, another leak out offensive rebound lay-in. It was. I mean, that's not supposed to happen in the playoffs.
No, not at all. And then Detroit had played so well for 3 quarters to be up by 8. The Garden really was not loud at all at that point in time. You could tell fans were nervous, and then they get a 5-second violation or start a quarter. That should never happen. And then they get a shot clock violation. So 2 possessions, don't get a shot off. And then, you know what? It changes quickly. The Payne had an unbelievable stretch. Obviously, Brunson, he looked like he was hurt before that. He played great all of a sudden. So, Detroit kind of kicked away a few minutes and then didn't recover.
So what did Detroit do to have that 8-point lead late in that game? They were playing well, but what were they doing that were bothering the Knicks?
Well, I thought Tobias Harris had a great first half. He didn't play well beyond there, but 22 in the first half. That the Knicks kind of, I think that was the matchup they felt comfortable really not being too concerned about. They, obviously they focused their whole defense on Cade Cunningham, let someone else beat him, and he did great for 3 quarters. They battled fairly well on the boards. They didn't turn it over a lot early on. It was just all of a sudden, during that stretch, turning over a lot and making some mistakes. If they clean that up, I think they feel very comfortable about the way they played the other, 42 minutes.
What did you think before the series started and the fact that the Knicks were such a big favorite?
I didn't agree with them being such an overwhelming favorite. I picked them to win, obviously, but, the way obviously Malik Beasley shot the ball here to 2 wins at the Garden, I think he was 13 of 18. That stuff matters, when you come in here and you want to say a team is new. Well, when they had the success they had, it's a little different. I understand that is the playoffs, but the bottom line is it's still a place where you're comfortable in. Tim Hardaway Jr. obviously was a Knick. He played well the other night too. You're not going to shut down Cunningham. He's too good a player. So, I thought this would be a 6-game series. I think Detroit is certainly worthy of being here, and I think other than a few minutes they proved that.
This has nothing to do with the current group, and Bickerstaff's done a great job, but Are they asked about the 15? They've won a playoff game since 2008. I can't believe it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was such a terrible year last year and really a few bad years. Not too much because they brought in some veteran guys who I think handle a lot of the media and do the talking, and they weren't a part of last year. But Cunningham obviously was, and I think they kind of handle it well. I think they took their lumps last year, and they feel very comfortable under Bickerstaff now that they're a totally changed organization.
So is it let's focus on the first 3 quarters and Detroit can keep it close again, or that's the real team we saw in the fourth quarter and the Knicks will win by more than 7 tonight?
I think Detroit keeps it close. Like I say, I really was impressed by the way they handled pretty much everything. And the Knicks, we know who they are. I don't think they're as good as they looked during that run. I think, so yeah, I think they'll win the game probably, but I think it's a close one. I feel that way.
Karl-Anthony Towns only one made 3-pointer, Brian, in the first game. What do we expect from him this time around? I feel like the way Detroit was playing defensively, he could do a little bit more from beyond the arc, no?
I think you're exactly right. I thought that during the game. He looked like he was going inside more. Detroit kind of forcing him away from the line, which a lot of teams kind of do, which is weird when you're talking about a center, but obviously he feels more comfortable on the outside. We'll see. I think part of it will determine whether the Knicks they played Mitchell Robinson with Towns a lot during that game, more than we saw in the regular season. If they do that, maybe that frees him up to be outside more and he'll get a few more shots, but certainly it wasn't as many as I think they want him to take. The Knicks want him to take.
All the money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. Brian Mahoney, our guest, covers the NBA for the Associated Press. Game 2 tonight, the Garden, Knicks 7 and 220.5 the total. So there were big expectations coming into this season. You gave up all those picks to get Bridges, then you make the Cat trade as well. What if they either lose to the Pistons or they get blown out by Boston? What's Tibbs' status?
There's a lot of noise around here that he would be in trouble if they are not competitive against Boston or if they go out in the first round. It makes I have a hard time understanding why that'd be the case. Obviously, when you look at what they were the previous 15 years before he got here versus what they are now. But I also understand, look, if someone says maybe this is as far as we can go, we made our win now moves and we didn't get closer to winning, we got to make a change on the bench. I mean, those things happen all the time in sports. I get it. It's just I would have a hard time understanding, why you would look at him as the problem. Do you think they could be competitive against Boston, or it will be more of what transpired during the regular season? It depends. I think if Boston shoots the ball the way they can, they just, they get too much separation. But the Knicks, the last regular season game, I think the last one they played that went to overtime, the Knicks really wanted that game, and they almost got it. So I do think they showed the first 3 games, they're better than they played against Boston. But whether they can actually be competitive in a 7-game series, I don't know. You look at the 3 results, those first 3 results, and certainly Boston, I think, feels really comfortable with that matchup.
Yep.
Right. Has it calmed down out there? Because we mentioned how loud it was in the building, but reading some of the discourse, it sounded like Knicks fans were actually nervous about this series against the Pistons. And I can't imagine they were feeling great when they were down 8 in the fourth quarter.
No, and it's funny if you look at some of the videos that online afterward, the fans are in the streets. Oh my God, we had it all along and all that. No, it did not feel that way. There was a lot of nerves. I think, like I say, the Pistons won here twice in the regular season. They were winning most of the game the other night. I think they do have the respect of the New York basketball community here.
All right, we did this earlier, but covering the league a long time, I want to know some of your thoughts. Do you think the Bucks are finished?
It all depends on what Lillard has when he gets back in here, but certainly Indiana looks way more comfortable than they need to think that's going to turn around. They looked really good against them.
How about the Rockets?
I just don't know if they score enough.
Yep.
If the game stays close, obviously you got the all-time great finisher and a guy like Curry. So I think the Warriors think they're comfortable. Obviously, if Houston can score better than they did the other night, then maybe that changes. But if it's that kind of game again, yeah, the Warriors will win that series.
Okay. J.J. Redick, we were, quote, surprised by Minnesota's physicality. How about Minnesota blowing out the Lakers?
I mean, that was the one that raised everyone's eyes. I mean, I think Minnesota's really good, obviously. But I think they were good enough to go into L.A. and blow them out? No. But they had a great finish to the regular season. Their guys are healthy, and, that's a team that's kind of built for the playoffs with the physicality they do have, with obviously Gobert and Randall and Reed and Edwards. So that's going to be a fun one to watch. That could be a really intriguing series, obviously.
All right, my friend. Enjoy the game. Thanks for a few minutes. Catch up soon.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
There you go. Brian Mahoney covers the NBA for the Associated Press on the Progressive Guest Line, and it was loud and an incredible 21-0 run. I've never seen that before either. The 5-second violation to start the fourth quarter?
The fourth quarter. I mean, the team completely fell apart. It was really weird watching that happen.
Yep.
Look, should they have won the game? That remains to be seen. But at least as somebody, if you were catching the points with Detroit, you had to feel a little jaded after watching that collapse. Up by 8, covering the entire way, and then completely letting go of the rope like that.
I think that's outrageous to fire him if it doesn't go well against Boston. But I know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
They're going to say we went all in. And after the year we had last year, and then we traded for Cat and Bridges, and then we can't even compete against Boston.
Right.
They might do something drastic.
I'm with you. The grass isn't always greener. Who are you going to bring? I mean, what are you going to go get? I mean, the obvious replacement would be Michael Malone, right? Ties to the area, all that kind of stuff. Go out there and be a hard ass in New York and maybe try to get this team to perform at a higher level on defense. But I hardly look at this team and say everything that has failed this Knicks team lies at the feet of Thibodeau.
Yes. And Bridges only had 8 points in game 1, too. Want to know where the money's really going? Unlike other sources, our splits come straight from Circa and DraftKings, giving you insight into where the sharp action's landing. Circa takes huge bets from pro bettors. See the percentage of bets versus percentage of handle on every game across every major sport, helping you make smarter, more informed bets. People love it. They go crazy for the betting splits. Get it? Summer special, $59 until August 1st, VSiN.com/subscribe. I was way off on this Jurassic Park thing. I can't believe it. Von Tobel has the box office numbers up next, and you won't believe what Adam Schefter said today as we get back to more props and NFL draft talk on VSiN Follow the Money, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158, live from downtown Las Vegas, circa LasVegas.com.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Adjusted series prices coming up, along with a plethora of props. Great menu tonight with the NHL and NBA playoffs coming up in 15 minutes. Before we get to Schefter and the breaking news, first things first, you're telling me Jurassic World Dominion did $1 billion at the box office?
According to Wikipedia, Jurassic World Dominion released in 2022, starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, among others. At the box office, made $1.004 billion. Billion with a B. That's insane.
Yeah.
Obviously, well outpaced their $265 million budget. And in fact, all 3 Jurassic World movies, which it is news to me in this moment that there are 3 Jurassic World movies. I thought there was just 2, but there are 3, and all of the previous 3 made over $1 billion at the box office.
I can't believe it. Because Jurassic Park 3 tanked and was terrible.
Yes.
And then they got away from it and said, okay, and then they did the reboot, and it's like
of the Jurassic Park film franchise, Jurassic Park 3 is by far the worst performing at the box office, making just $368.8 million. There are only 2 Jurassic Park films that made less than $1 billion at the box office. Jurassic Park 2 and Jurassic Park 3. Jurassic Park 2 made $618.6 million, though. So it did very well, especially considering it was a $73 million budget. But the first Jurassic Park in 1993 did over $1 billion at the box office. That's a bleep ton of money in the early 90s. That's crazy.
Yeah, but that was all the rage. It's incredible what they did.
You remember Laserdisc?
Yeah.
My dad had one. That's how I watched it. Those big old things.
Awesome. I can't believe that Dominion, which bad movie.
That's wild.
Oh, that's sad. Well,
must be Bryce Dallas Howard.
Kids will go see it. Sure. Okay. So what do you have now from a draft standpoint with the odds movement?
Okay, so there's a couple things. First off, should note that there is a new favorite for the 5th overall selection, and he is approaching odds-on status very quickly. And in fact, he's already an odds-on favorite to go 6th overall. Ashton Genty is now even money to go 5th overall over at BetMGM and some other spots here. I think we have some old odds there that we could throw up just to get a reference of where we were at. But it was prior to that Mason Graham was the odds-on favorite, but Ashton Genty has moved ahead of him, and he is now even money to go with that selection. How about that?
If you go exact order, Ward, Hunter, Carter, Campbell, Graham, or Ward, Hunter, Carter, Campbell, Genty, they're both plus 165. I think it's for sure Ward, Hunter, Carter, and I think Campbell goes 4th. Then you can just lock in Graham or Genty as well if you want. Oh, that's not good enough.
Right.
The take back. But that's this is big. Well, what do they think? How long ago they take NTN? And now you could go running back at number 5.
Interestingly enough, for whatever it's worth, he is still, if you want a piece of it, it is still plus 275 for him to be drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
So if you want to go in that direction, as opposed to, because here's the thing, we obviously don't know if he's going to be selected by the Jags. Somebody could be trading up. And we talked, Luke, who did we talk to last week? The name escapes me.
Me O'Brien?
No, it was the mock draft. We had somebody who did a mock draft. It was Evan Silva. Evan Silva speculated that the Broncos could get aggressive and trade up ahead of the Raiders to go and get Ashton Genty.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Suggested that at about 20-1. For what it's worth, now, again, I mentioned BetMGM. They have Genty at even money to be the 5th overall selection. DraftKings has him as the favorite, but plus 135. Mason Graham is plus 155, and he is still the odds-on favorite at minus 125 to go there.
Okay, and then Circa opened up Genty 6.5 over minus 140. Now it's under minus 250. Other draft props that have moved. Sanders over 8.5, opened 380 up to 450. McMillan 16.5 under minus 170, now 18.5. Golden, 16.5 over minus 150, moved to 18.5. I saw Warren, first tight end, as low as $4.50. He's $9 at Will Hill for first tight end selected. You think he could go how high? Maybe New England?
New England 4 is a possibility.
Would you go under 10.5?
Oh, yeah.
Under 9.5?
I think you look at that and go, yes, like absolutely, it's a chance. Again, skill position talent is what you need in this league now. So yeah, maybe I can get an offensive lineman. But why would I do that when I can get the best pass catcher here that I think is available at that moment right now and help out my quarterback who actually shows some promise?
Green, yep.
Oh, sorry, just go ahead.
Yep. Green 17.5 over $3 to now 17.5 under minus 130. And Walker, 8.5 under minus 330 to $5 now, with some big props that have moved at Circa.
You want this from Schefter?
Go.
At least one team does not have a first-round grade on any of the quarterbacks in this draft. General manager of another team said that there are, quote, no surefire quarterback solutions, end quote, and the top-rated passer, Ward, would be the 7th-rated passer in last year's class, and, quote, I don't think it's close, that alleged executive added. Schefter goes on to say some teams and prognosticators have predicted 4 quarterbacks going around 1, but there are smart people around the league who believe there might only be 1 or 2 who go in the top 32 picks. I keep invoking the Kenny Pickett draft. I think that's what this is.
Yep.
That total for the first round was 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Pickett was the only guy that went in the first round. People were talking about Malik Willis as the first overall pick. He went in the third round. And I mean, I don't think I would be surprised if that was the case. And by the way, that prop is moving now too. Today, I finally got in and added under 2.5 quarterbacks in the first round. I was waiting to see what the market would do. I got a little too cute, lost out on quite a bit. It was well over $2.
Yeah,
it is now plus 150 at some spots on the under.
Wow. Dart went from 21.5 to 25.5 here.
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't even go.
And 21 is the Steelers, obviously. But doesn't seem like they're committed to actually doing this.
How far does Sanders drop?
Does he? I mean, out of the first round seems to be the potential.
Wow. How long are the Steelers going to wait on Rodgers? They got to make a move here.
I mean, that's
not going to give him an answer.
So Humans and I played the clip. I think it was Thursday or Friday from him on the McAfee show, talking about I told him I wanted to make $10 million. I told him they signed about the money. Is there a chance he's making other demands? Don't draft a quarterback. Because there's no reason why this hasn't been consummated yet. He needs a team. They need a quarterback. If he's willing to do it for $10 million and you have essentially nobody on the books at quarterback, why hasn't this happened yet? Maybe it's something to do with the fact that he is pushing them to not draft a replacement quarterback, that he doesn't want to rear a young QB. Or maybe they think Jalen Moreau's the next Jalen Hurts, and they're going to get him in the second round. But under 2.5 quarterbacks.
That's a possibility, yeah.
Remember, for the audience, too, this is the 9th year of draft betting we've had out here in Las Vegas. Under his 6-2 on first-round quarterbacks.
Very good. So you think you go, wow. I can't believe this. What are the Saints going to do? They're going to run it back with Rattler?
I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Take a shot at maybe being the top pick next year. Roll with what you got. Or go late round and just see what's going to come up. But if you truly don't have a first-round grade on these guys, why reach when you can load up your roster and just take your lumps for a year?
I think Milroe's second round is outrageous.
You think you should be lower?
No, I don't think you should. Fourth round?
Right, so you should, so later in the draft, excuse me.
However you want to use it, right. That's what I see. I don't think he can play. And I think that's a huge reach, and it'd be ridiculous. And it's a panic move. But how about how we were when we were during the season? It was tank for Sanders. Raiders get him 1 or 2, and now he probably goes in the 20s,
right?
If that.
I mean, I think too the Raiders are an interesting. If the tea leaves are right, and that Genty's gone by the time you get to 6, the Raiders are an interesting. I took a piece of them at 8-1 just this morning to draft a defensive lineman or an edge. They actually are down to 750 now, but I think that's something that's worth looking at too, because it seems legitimate that either the Jacksonville Jaguars or a team is looking to trade up with the Jacksonville Jaguars to go and get Genty potentially before the Raiders do. Yeah, baby.
It's getting juicy now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting good.
Man, can you imagine if the Titans just pass on Ward overall?
No, come on. But that's
make it really good.
Ward, Hunter, Carter's happening. And I'll say Campbell at 4, too. But maybe have something with New England as well. That could happen. Draft starts Thursday. Visa knows every pick matters. Tune in for 2 special live shows breaking down every pick from a betting perspective. Visa Primetime Draft Edition starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by Cashing Out at 11 p.m. Eastern. Explore the NFL Draft Hub on the VSiN Watch app. Exclusive analysis, team needs and insights, VSiN.com/draft. Full coverage and stream it all live on the VSiN Watch app as well. Looking forward to it, and we'll be out at the pool as well on Thursday. Can't wait for that. And they got the watch parties and viewing parties here at Circa. That'd be aggressive for New England to go offense, though, there, don't you think? Could you trade? Belichick loved to do it all the time. Trade back.
Yeah, but he had no eye for offensive talent at all.
That's true. That's correct.
I mean, I'm loading up. I got a young quarterback that actually might have some upside. I'm giving him every possible weapon.
Right, fair enough. We'll get to updated series prices in the NBA and NHL and kick around a plethora of props for tonight's game coming up on VSiN. Follow the money.